Hey everyone, I wanted to share a little bit about some of the programs I took while I was incarcerated that really formed my life and helped change my life for the better. One of the first ones is I was in the first Kairos at Marion Correctional many, many years ago, where it's kind of complicated. It's a Christian retreat, and a lot of non Christians attend it because they're known for bringing in awesome food, pizza, sometimes bacon in the morning. I mean, and then cookies all day. Kairos cookies, nothing like that. I gained a lot of weight eating those. Um, every day, they're giving an extra bag of cookies to take back, and you're supposed to give it to someone you don't like. Well, I was hoping I had a lot of enemies, but I did not get the cookies. I try to get people mad, so they would hand me the cookies. It did not work. Um, but I went in there mainly just wanting the food, just like most people did. But as it went on, it was a 4 day uh, program. As time went on, we had table discussion. I was at the table of Paul, by the way, the family of Paul. They name it after apostles, but we had different discussions on topics that was meaningful to us. I do not remember what they all were, but not the last day, but the second last day, we had to think hard about you know um, who we need to forgive in our life. And there's one person I really needed to forgive, and I should have done it years ago. I was a victim of abuse when I was a kid. Um, it took me many, many years to be able to even think about it. But I wrote his name on this dissolving paper. Now, in some camps, you throw it in the fire. But at Marion, we had a piece of paper that we had to write the person's name on. And then they were put in a big, I think it was uh, the baptismal in the chapel. They would dissolve it. Well, I felt so good after that. But that night, the night again, I felt so angry towards that guy. I said, why did I even think about forgiving? So I wrote it again down on paper, on toilet paper, actually, and dissolved it in the toilet. And I did this probably for a month until actually I said, you know what? I'm actually going to forgive him. I'm not going to hold on to hatred or anger. Um, it wasn't easy, but that was the most meaningful time, while I was locked up. It really was because it it stuck in my mind. Some of the things that we did learn, and we had what was called reunions, where they would come in and um, we were singing some Cairo songs and have a discussion. Um, I think it's twice a year they bring food in, and of course we all were for that. But I love the discussions, and now you could not really preach to people. We weren't allowed to, but it was to show them God's love, agape love. And I would say my next favorite program came, oh boy, it was in the early 2000s. I went through Horizon Initiative. Jeff Hunsinger ran the one up at Marriott. Him and Christine Money worked on um, getting the program together. And I was working at the Seven Dome Garden at the time. And I forget that gentleman's name that was working with me at the time there. And he kept saying, you need to go through this program. And my favorite words, as always, was, do they give you extra food? What's the benefits? I didn't know the benefits were actually, changing my mind from bad to good. That was a big part of my change. But I can't. I wish I could remember that guy's name. But within the first week, because they already they didn't take tobacco out from the institutions, but we weren't allowed to smoke inside. So I didn't really follow rules like I did most of my time until near the end. And somebody kept going and telling Jeff I was smoking in the bathroom. So he would call me in his office every morning. He says, I hear you're smoking the bath. I said, no, Jeff, why would I do that? I obey all rules. Well, it really wasn't that I was obeying rules. I was doing what I knew best, and that was being deceitful and not honest about what I was doing. So, I didn't like Jeff at the beginning because he smiled too much, but it but Jeff grew on me because I learned so much in that program. We had these ladies come in, I think it was Thursday night, and they'd play games with us. We'd sit around a table and just have a lot of fun. Then we had Awakening. Then we had Outside Brothers coming in, and mine was Phil Conway, who we are good friends to this day. We had really nothing in common. He was a Democrat. I was a Republican. He voted for Obama. I would have voted for McCain because I was locked up at the time. I said, okay, we'll take a bet. Well, so far he's up on me, except this last president. But I talked to him on a regular time, and Jeff Hunsinger, he's retired now. I see him periodically, and he's a lot of fun to talk to, and he's always so cheerful. I remember when I first got out, I couldn't find a church, and I called Jeff over and said, I cannot find a church. He said, I tell you what, you be ready Sunday morning, I'll pick you up. So he picked me up, took me down to a church called the United Methodist Church for All People here in Columbus. And during the service, when they were collecting the offering, he said, what should I do with this $20? Put in the offering or give it to you? I wanted to say give it to me, but I couldn't do that because I was too proud, I guess. I said, put in the offering. So he did. So after church, he came up to me and said, since you told me to put in the offering, here's $20. So it did pay off to do what was right. And it's an everyday process to work on issues that we all have. Sometimes society is going to judge you and bash you no matter what you have done. But I personally believe, and this is my own personal belief, and I can't have anybody tell me wrong because I won't believe them, is the only way truly to stay out of prison is a personal relationship with Christ. And I don't always talk about my faith. I do when I'm inside talking to inmates. They know where I stand. And I'm friends with inmates from all walks of life, Wiccans, Islam, Jewish. I didn't know any Jehovah's Witnesses while I was locked up. I'm sure there was. Messianic Jews, which are Christian Jewish people. There's a few other ones. I can't remember what they all were. But in the Horizon, one thing that we had to learn is we didn't have to agree with every faith, but we needed to respect them because they had a right to worship their God, or I guess it would be their God the way they choose to do so. And I took some class. And they were called 101. So I took Islam 101, Wiccan 101, and a good friend of mine taught the Wiccan one, Bill Morehouse, who was just on the other day, who is now at Lancaster, a great man, a man that should have been out, but he's not, just like so many. But the moral of the story is that if you really want to change, you can. That doesn't mean society is going to stop bashing you, because they may. And you can't worry about that. You have to worry about keep going forward. I remember several years ago, I had a black guy call me from Cleveland. He said, one thing is you don't have to worry about black people bashing you, because they won't. But I found out recently that's not true. But, if we sit here and pass judgment on people because of something they did 20, 30, 40 years ago, we are not helping them succeed. We are not helping society. Society is told all this fear and negative stuff about people instead of what's positive. What we need to do is when people get released from prison, we need to reach our hand out and say, how can I help you? Um, you need a church, let me look. You need housing, let me do some research. You need personal hygiene, I'll get you some. And that's one thing we need donations for. And we have some here. Um, but let's extend our hand and really go the extra mile for these folks. Because I know people can change. And I know they do. I was given several chances, and I screwed up, and it wasn't easy, but I knew God was behind this, and He was the one that walked me through prison most of my life when I hated pretty much anybody when I first got locked up. Instead of, treating people like I was raised, I was treating them like they were less superior. We know how that works. It doesn't. So what I'm asking people to do is let's continue to pray for those behind bars. Let's extend our hand. Let's encourage and lift people up. Let's not bash people and tear them down. This can only be done if you choose to want to do it. Everybody, have a great night. Until next time, this is James Cronenberger.